Hey everybody, Jonathan Broadbent here, your host of UnWoke.Academy, and as promised, we are live Wednesday at noon. It took me a few extra minutes to get up and running, the usual setup stuff, Rumble, etc. We are actually live now on the following platforms. We've got Rumble, X, YouTube, Facebook, and Substack. Substack is a separate channel that actually, so far, from the research that I've done, there's not yet a way to incorporate the Substack Live using any of the array of cameras and microphones that I've got. So Substack is actually set up and run from my phone. So if this is your first time on Substack, you'll notice that there's a green screen behind me. On the other platforms, there's actually some information. So I will reference that in today's conversation. If you're interested in what I have to say, you may want to go onto one of the other platforms and rewatch this. The advantage there, if you do that, is you can watch it at speed, which is what I do. You'll speed things up. I watch a lot of different podcasts and shows at about 1.5 times because it condenses it and I can get the same information in a shorter period of time. That said, I do try to speak quickly and get a whole bunch of information out fairly rapidly and make best use of your time. I'm going to start by sharing a bizarre, strange Wall Street experience that I once had. I've had lots and lots of bizarre, strange, and sometimes awful Wall Street experiences, but this one kind of informs a lot of what came later in my career and how I've shaped things at UnWoke.Academy and what I do, etc. But I developed a career in a niche within finance, which got me recruited by a Wall Street firm. And once I was there was sort of these announcements, and we're really proud to introduce our latest member, Jonathan Broadbent, and he's going to do this and that. It wasn't long before I was contacted, slip the words there, contacted by Wall Street Journal. And at the time, I was subscribing to Wall Street Journal. I read it regularly, and they wanted my professional expertise. They wanted my opinion on something, on an article that they were writing. And I was very flattered, of course. So suddenly I'm on their radar because of a pretty high profile position that I was filling, and because of this area of expertise that I had. I was like, oh, sure. Yeah, it'd be great to, happy to chime in and provide my feedback on this and any other future articles. However, I very quickly found out, I was informed by the leadership team at this Wall Street firm that they had this requirement that before anybody speak to the press or media, they had to have 5 years at this particular firm. They had to work there for 5 years. I thought that was really strange. I'm like, well, you hired me to do this thing, and I'm good at it, and I know a lot of the right people, and I've actually met a lot of the people that are going to be referenced in that sort of article, and et cetera. But there were no ifs, ands, or buts. So I was forbidden from that conversation. That was frustrating because I really think that could have helped my career. But in hindsight, I've looked back on it, and I really do think that based on the experiences that I had with that firm, there is for lack of a better word, there's an indoctrination process that people are expected to go through. And in order to put that into context, it was actually 2 nights ago, I had a conversation with a gentleman who works in the legal arena. And I asked some questions about law schools and how law schools are formed. I don't know if you know this, but it's actually a requirement that somebody go through law school before they can sit for the bar exam. And I've often wondered about what takes place in law schools, because overwhelmingly, I can make the argument, many people do, that the people who go through law school end up coming out very, very liberal. There's sort of a process of sort of creating these liberal lawyers. And in this gentleman's, in his view, he made the comment a few times that about 9 out of 10 lawyers lean left or are heavily left. Well, that's just not good. I mean, that destroys our Constitution, traditional American values. It really robs us of many forms of due process, et cetera. So applying that conversation to my experiences on Wall Street, I do believe, looking back, that it's fair to say that there's an expectation that somebody has to prove that they've drunken the Kool-Aid and they're on board with the Wall Street narrative. Well, I wasn't, I didn't, and I refused to drink the Kool-Aid, and that led to that now infamous letter that I've brought up a few times. My infamous letter that I wrote, by the way, on those platforms, I'm going to pause and interject. On those platforms where I'm live, if a question occurs to you, feel free to type that into the comments. I will try to incorporate that in today's discussion. But there are all sorts of things that only apply if you are free thinking, if you're allowed to apply critical thinking. And I mean, there are lots of things that in my book, they apply to this perspective. I've mentioned a few times recently that I actually have a DVD copy. Yeah, I'm old school. I buy copies of movies and films and things that I like. But I have an actual copy of The Big Short with Christian Bale. And there's a big element of Christian Bale's character that he plays in that that resonates, because he knew he was right. And he stuck to his guns, and it took a while. And ultimately, he was proven correct. The things that I talk about at UnWoke.Academy, and the research that we do, and the conversations that we have around the woke on Wall Street and how your money gets invested, those couldn't happen in an environment where I can't question, where I can't challenge the narrative. Speaking of challenging the narrative, easy for me to say. I'm going to change this background for a brief second here. Here we go. This one. So here's a background, and this, what you see behind me, this relates to the, where are we here? I'll get used to this one day. There we go. And now I'm pointing at it. This relates to the parade of woke sameness that I've talked about, and how it's now become possible for people to be invested in an array of different sounding, different appearing mutual funds and different pooled investments. And they might have a whole bunch of different sounding names, like the Global Elite Fund and the Power Tech Fund. And by the way, these are meant to be hypothetical examples, not actual listing of different mutual funds. But I've shown time and time again that there are people that are way under diversified because they have all these different sounding funds, but then they end up routed into this stuff here, these things. Say, I'll get used to that. It's just, these different these same. It's like around 30-ish companies. These big globalist, and Apple, Microsoft, NVIDIA, Amazon.com, Alphabet, Meta Platforms, which is Facebook, and a bunch of other ones. And you can apply to that the things that you're probably frustrated with and don't like. And you might be boycotting some of them, like Cracker Barrel is the most recent we've been talking a lot about, and how they went woke. I've talked a lot about Costco because I'm frustrated. I used to like Costco, and then I ditched my membership when they started insisting on training racism into their employees. But these are the sorts of things you might be funneled into if you're allowing yourself, and that goes to the heart of the title of this episode, this discussion, the fork in the road. If you are allowing yourself to be funneled into the same woke parade of sameness, the globalist bubble, and it is. Look at these things. These are a bubble. I'm absolutely, I keep talking about it. These are so overfunded right now. I could list examples and illustrate why I say that all day long. But one of the prime examples of that is the roughly $16.7 million stock bonuses that were given to people at high levels in a bunch of these different companies. It just tells you that there's so much cash, they don't know what to do with it. They're just like, they can't shovel it out and just distribute it and buy things fast enough. That's overfunding, and it's a bubble. So in that fork in the road, either you are going to just simply allow yourself to be corralled like sheep. Please don't be sheeple. Don't be financial sheeple into this stuff, or you're going to consider better alternatives. And the fact that everything that we're doing at UnWoke.Academy is free. It's open to the public. We're doing all kinds of research into the woke and finding the non-woke stuff. And we even coach you through how to apply this stuff anywhere. So unlike the sort of Wall Street mantra of trying to capture you with these sticky, go to this platform or put all your money with this bank or whatever, we don't care. Wherever you are, it doesn't matter to us. What matters is that you consider alternatives to the woke stuff. And there's a great expression, if you want to, what's the Wayne Gretzky expression? Skate where the puck is going to be. Don't skate to where the puck is. Right now, for the past Biden administration or Otto Penn administration or whatever you want to call it, whoever was running politics in DC for the last for the 4 years where Biden was sort of shuffling around, staring blankly and eating ice cream, there you were being funneled. We were all, virtually everybody on the planet was being funneled into a bunch of these woke companies, just behind our backs and surreptitiously. Virtually everything agreed somehow, ridiculously, to just stop paying attention, took the guardrails off, stopped analyzing and using fundamentals to look for good versus bad, and try to make sure that they were looking for good investment alternatives and option, where's the next new market, etc. So when people are out there and they talk about MAGA, which stands for Make America Great Again, or they talk about America First, by the way, it's not my objective to make everything that we talk about America only. There are some companies in the world that haven't bought into the woke narrative that represent good investment opportunities. Overwhelmingly, what we're seeing, because the U.S. in particular has been cash starved, businesses were just robbed of funding in order to grow during the Biden administration, is just massive, rapid growth in those markets that didn't meet favorability with the woke agenda. So that's what we're seeing here. We're seeing a bunch of companies that we've screened, and this isn't all of them. This happens to be an actual live example of one private membership association portfolio. We can craft these, tailor them. By the way, you can DIY, take our research and go wherever you want, including wherever your IRA is or your 401k account. These can be applied in there. There may be some steps between now and wherever you are and being able to implement it, depending on your company, how they offer the 401k plan, and if they have something called self-directed brokerage account. That, put simply, is just it's an option that can be added to most 401k, depending on your provider, that gives you access to doing these kinds of things. You don't need to change the plan or go switch. You probably can do this wherever you are currently. It just takes asking and convincing your human resources department, your benefits director, to give you access to be able to build your own portfolio. And at that point, you're going to get rid of the investment management fees. And depending on where you are and if you're paying advisory fees, you might be able to reduce or eliminate those as well. By the way, that's a good opportunity to interject that anybody that is looking for financial advice, for financial planning, kind of the whole picture thing, call Matt and Drew. We have a special arrangement with them. They're at Inspire Advisors. You'll find a couple of commercials that have interjected, that have actually introduced in some prior episodes. Matt and Drew have also been guests on this program a few times now. I think you'll like them, but even if you don't, or you're just sort of curious, call them up. Let them do a free impact report for you. They're offering to do that for followers of UnWoke.Academy. That's no charge, no obligation. They will do that for you just because they want an icebreaker. They're looking to meet you. And some of you may click and end up doing work with them. If you do, some of the value of that relationship is shared back with UnWoke. That keeps episodes like this one going, which reminds me to bring you into the conversation a perspective. And I hope that you bear this in mind and keep this perspective and share with people around you. First thing is, like and share this episode and ones like it. Share it with other people. Post some comments because that helps us defeat the algorithm. The next more important thing is, as I've said, and I began this episode with stating, everything we do at UnWoke.Academy is free and open to the public. You can take it anywhere. There are opportunities, if you like what we're doing, to elect to work with us. You can financially support us, but that is purely optional. Those are, depending on the platform, we do have some paid subscribers. Thank you very much. We greatly appreciate you. We also have some people that are working with Matt and Drew. That continues to grow and get great feedback. People seem to love Matt and Drew as their financial advisors. Sort of take a breath of fresh air knowing that you're not working with woke Wall Street type advisors. There's also the Financial PMA. That's the website, financialpma.com. And that's where this portfolio comes from. So this is somebody who wanted to work in a group environment with as much privacy as we can create for this individual. Don't even get me started on how data mined people's financial lives are. It's ridiculous. I could probably make 10 standalone episodes on the data mining that occurs in finance, in Wall Street and big banks, credit cards, etc. It's awful. But the objective here is to create some privacy for this individual. Again, we don't care where she is. You could be on an online discount stock trading platform, doesn't matter. It's a private membership association, which is completely different and kind of the opposite of the asset gatherers. Asset gatherers is an episode that I did a while ago. You may want to go back and watch that one. I don't suggest that people who want to be unwoke, non-woke in their lives, that they should work with Wall Street or globalist banks, because you're at odds with them. The moment you step foot in their office, their objective is to get as much of your life as exposed as possible, learn as much as possible, data mine you, report to federal 3-letter agencies everything possible about you, and then try to navigate into the highest profit stuff. Generally speaking, that's the truth. In the Financial PMA, these portfolios, again, I'm clarifying because it looks like we've had a few new people join us. Welcome. If any of this resonates with you or curious about what I'm talking about, know that this will rebroadcast and you can go back and catch any of the earlier parts you may have missed. But this, again, is free and open to the public. This represents what you see behind me is a portfolio that was built for somebody in the private membership association based off of our research. The research is free and open to the public. So what does this mean more specifically? If you didn't know it, if you lift the hood on a mutual fund, it's going to look something like this. Although probably, based on all the research and reporting I've been doing for years, will probably be the same collection of woke companies that you don't want to invest in, that are inflated globalist bubble. This one is direct investing. It bypasses the mutual fund, which means no management fees, and it strips out all the other fees. There is a trade-off to be aware of, but follow me on the math here. I hope you do, because it's usually, almost always, extraordinarily to your benefit. Investment managers, like mutual funds, have a fee to invest with them. And in addition to just funneling you probably into an array of different, the same parade of woke sameness, they charge a fee. So let's assume annually, depending on how much money you have invested, they're siphoning off, just figure whatever, $5,000 or $7,000 or $8,000. In prior episodes, I've shown you how to figure out how much money they're making off of you. If you eliminate that, then that's more money that you keep in your investment portfolio for your future. That money then can grow and compound. So looking at these numbers on this side, you can see, there we go. Everything's backward for me, so it takes me a minute to get lined up. You can see what we're doing as far as investment performance. And this actually was unexpected. We're putting up some unbelievable numbers. This woman is experiencing extraordinary growth. But again, that goes back to, in my book, from everything that I've been able to uncover and research and report on for years during the Autopen administration, these companies, many companies, were cash starved because so much money was being funneled into so few companies. They were overfunded. Now we're seeing what could very well prove to be the rebirth of capital markets, the rebirth of middle income America, small business venture, free markets. Some people call it the freedom economy. The freedom economy, if you're a fan of that, just know it has to be funded somehow. Banks aren't going to fund it, not typically, but we can fund it. And if we do, I'm not, for clarification, I'm not suggesting that what you see behind me is freedom economy. Some of it might fall in that category, but what these are good investment opportunities that have been languishing and suffocated for years because of the obsessive, ridiculous over-focus on very, very few companies, in funding very, very few companies. And I just call them all globalist cabal. If you don't want to fund the globalist cabal, then by all means, take a look. The starting point is just look at what you've got. I've shown you how to do that. In prior episodes, I've done some conversations on mutual funds, how to get to the heart of what they're invested in, because you can look them up. It's actually public information, and it's very easy. I think it was 2 episodes ago, in under a minute, I was able to open up with free, publicly available resources on any browser, information about mutual funds, and see what they're investing your money in. And again, that was another same thing. It was the same little cabal of globalist companies that virtually everybody has been pumped into for 5 years. Don't do it. Don't do that. Don't allow your money to fund a bleak future of the destruction of America. Instead, fund, and again, it's not an all or none proposition. You could choose to take some of your money and fund a better, brighter future. Take some of your money. I hope you'll actually redirect all of it. But if you're afraid and you think somehow, in spite of reason and logic, that maybe Apple, Microsoft, Nvidia, Amazon, Meta, and that little clique of globalist cabal, maybe you think that they're going to continue to run up and they'll all be worth $1 trillion a share. Maybe keep some of your money there then, if you believe that. But redirect some of it into America first, make America great again, at least free market capitalism, because it was dying on the vine prior to January of this year, 2025. It spent years languishing. And you're seeing the results here of good investments in doing our homework, smart due diligence. I do hope that more people will choose to join the Financial PMA. Again, that's the website, financialpma.com. If you work in finance, go to that website and just duplicate what you see there. Take everything that I'm doing. Call me up. By the way, I'll walk you through and give you advice and guidance and help. I liken what I'm doing to those doctors who chose to leave Mega Hospital during COVID. They challenged, they asked questions, and they didn't allow everybody to be injected, in spite of all reason, sanity, and logic, with the same questionable new thing. That, in essence, is what I'm doing. In essence, and I've been doing it for years. since I chose to leave Wall Street and form my own company. Ask questions. Try to put reasonable, responsible ethics ahead of the profit interests of mega globalist banks. And that's led me to where we are with the Financial PMA and UnWoke.Academy. I got onto a little sidetrack there. I do hope that some financial professionals choose to take that path. And just like those doctors who formed actual health clinics that aren't focused on big pharma and actually and pay attention to the health benefits and lifestyles of people. I love them. I just absolutely adore those people, those health clinics that have taken that step. And I hope more people do the comparable move within the world of finance. That's what the Financial PMA is. I'm hoping to that we bring in around 30 to 50 more private membership association members this year, 2025. If that's you, or you think it might be you, check out the website, get a hold of us. At a minimum, get your information either over to me and I'll take a look at it, give you some feedback. I'll show you if your investments are on the woke side, that fork in the road, or how to start steering a path toward investing in a better, brighter future for us. Or get a hold of Matt and Drew if you want to work with financial planners. Those are great guys, and they will treat you right. They're going to start off with that free impact report. Very similar. Whatever your path is, doing it yourself, getting your financial advisor to leave the woke company they might be working for and strike out on their own in a private membership association or a similar type of structure, or coming into the Financial PMA. The mission here is to defund the woke. We've got to do it. We've got to take away the money from the woke left. We call it DIS, the globalist left, which stands for know where you donate, invest, and spend your money. The left don't want you to. The left want you, like financial sheeple, to simply allow all your investment dollars effectively to be corralled into the same little clique of globalist cabal companies. So those a dozen people or whatever that control them can all be zillionaires and control everything. And that's just what I call global communism. I don't like any of it. It shouldn't be. And it is antithetical to the United States and what we stand for. I hope that you're not funding it. And if you are, or you're worried about people who you think are or may be funding that, the last piece I'll share with you is my concern that next year, 2026, and the lead up to the midterm elections, that market, those indexes, I'm air quoting that, the S&P 500 and things like it, I suspect that they will be allowed to collapse. The political benefit of doing that then and allowing those inflated, massively overvalued stock prices to suddenly drop right before the midterms, 2026, the political fallout will be significant if that happens. And suddenly you're going to have the Democrat left claiming that Trump and Republicans are responsible. And of course, they'll bring up things like the tariffs, et cetera. I'll save the tariff conversation for another live stream or podcast. But if I'm right, that would be the timing of that. Why allow yourself to be corralled into the same globalist bubble as everybody else? Explore alternatives. As I said before, it's not an all or none proposition. If you like some of that stuff, well, first of all, I hope that you do go back and watch the episodes where I argue against it. But if you end up and you still like it, you maybe just keep some of your money in that globalist bubble. I personally hope you don't, but that's certainly an option. But move some out, because if a lot of us do that, we're funding a free market economy. we're funding the businesses that have been cash starved, that might represent the business of tomorrow. Some of them are small, they're startup. I'm not suggesting everybody should invest in one little niche within the market. One of the things that is beneficial in structuring the account this way is this is a diversified portfolio. There are 40, I think there's 40 different investments represented here. This is the way to do it. And one last piece. I know there's a lot to this, but I keep interjecting because I keep hoping that as we gain new audience, people listen, heed the call. If you are a day trader, this is not the place for you. I do not suggest day trading in and out of things. This is designed to be a conversation for long-term buy and hold strategy that funds the future that we want to see, a better, brighter future for America and the West, that creates and funds a free market economy. I see some more folks have joined us on a few of the platforms. If some of this resonates with you and you're not exactly sure what led to this wrap up of this live stream, this will re-air. Feel free to go back and rewatch. The advantage, as I said earlier, and I do this a lot, is you can watch it at speed. So rewatch this. If questions occur to you, send them to info@UnWoke.Investing.com. info@UnWoke.Investing.com. Next week, I think we're going to focus on some Fidelity funds. I've got somebody who has sent some information about Fidelity funds. I'm getting the sense that it's starting to feel unhappy about the use. I think it's exclusive use. I haven't seen it yet. The exclusive use of only Fidelity funds. So we're going to lift the hood on those, I think, next week, Wednesday. I hope to see you then. In the meantime, thanks for joining. I'm Jonathan Broadbent, your host of UnWoke.Academy. We'll see you next week.